Welcome to the Punch Out. I'm your host, Alex McNinch, and welcome back for another episode this week. I guess for the first time this week. Apologies for not having an episode out on Monday. I know skipping it out a day is not great, but I had some things going on at the beginning of the week. Really busy week overall. It's been a busy past 2 weeks. I'm surprised I was even able to watch as much baseball as I have been. Ever since last Friday, it has been on the go until Wednesday, essentially. Finishing doing stuff with some family, um, wrapping up the baseball season for the team that I coach. Yeah, it's been a very busy week and a lot of stuff going on. So it's been kind of here and there with how much I was able to watch baseball over the past weekend. So it was like, you know what? Let's not do a podcast Monday. I don't have time to do it. I didn't watch enough games. I'm not going to come on here and start talking about stuff that I don't know and I didn't watch. So there's no point in doing that. I don't want to spread information as if I interpreted it from somebody else, not being able to watch it all myself. So I was able to watch most of the games this week. Wednesday was the only tough day where I wasn't able to watch the night games, but I tried to catch up on everything that I could through that. But from now on, no more baseball. We're done with baseball. Shout out to my JV group getting a good finish to the season, doing a really good job together, and the varsity team persevering through a tough season as well. But now that that's all over, we're moving ahead and to the MLB season, full focus, full attention onto everything there. So I'm really excited for that to be the case and for me to finally focus on the MLB. So without further ado, let's get into the games and the stuff that happened this week around the league. And we got to start off with a team that we have been talking about for weeks and weeks now, being one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in baseball, in the San Diego Padres. They had another series against the Chicago Cubs twice in the first 3 weeks of the season is insane. And the Cubs, we'll get to them later. They play another team they've already played this year so far, but the Padres just keep rolling. They have been unbelievable. Their bullpen, we had talked about it on the last episode, has been locked down. It has been unreal. Robert Suarez has been heading that as the closer. 8 saves so far this season. Expecting more this weekend as well. Yuki Matsui has been awesome. Jason Adam has been really good as well. So that bullpen's been there, but their lineup's also been really well. They're hitting great as well. Tatis, Arias. I mean, Arias is not going to hit for a high OPS, but he's still hitting 280 plus in the batting average category. But Tatis, Machado, even Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth is really hitting well. Gavin Sheets is a platoon bat in the outfield, and he's hitting well with his group as well. So everything is clicking for the Padres at the right time, and this is the start that they needed. We talked a lot about them in the season preview, kind of how are we going to figure out how they manage this team, and they didn't really do too much in the offseason, and we should have just shut up and not overthought anything that involved the Padres because this team's amazing. Dylan Cease has a 6.64 ERA, and yet they are still dominant. He hasn't even come into the full form, and this was kind of also the concern with Cease as well. Around the time that he was starting to get traded, you could see the stuff was really good. The metrics were there. His projectiles were also there, and you also got to think he's on the White Sox, so things get dipped down a little bit based to what reality is. However, a lot of the stuff seems to be straight, and this pitch mix isn't that good compared to the other guys on the staff. So he's having to figure out and adjust to how his arsenal is being hit now. It was good last year. Have no worries about Dylan Cease going forward at all, but this is just to show that he has that high of an ERA and the team is excelling no matter what. And I mean, this isn't even a indictment to the Cubs because the Cubs played well, I think, for most of the series as well. But when you run into a team like the Padres that is just playing awesome baseball so far, it's tough. And luckily, none of the really good teams have to play the Padres this weekend, so they can kind of all take a breath and face another team that is potentially a little bit worse than what the Padres have been here to start the year. Big up to the Padres. They how long will they keep it rolling? Hopefully for a while, because they're a lot of fun to watch. So hopefully the Padres can keep this going and start to figure out some of the cracks that were happening within the back end of that lineup and that rotation a little bit. Another team we haven't talked about too much overall has been the New York Yankees. They were the hot topic of discussion during the torpedo bat era. I call it an era because that era lasted about a week and then nobody cares anymore. But we haven't really talked about them since that incident happened. I guess they're not even an incident, but since that situation happened. So we'll kind of preview them a little bit here, looking at the series against the Royals, where they swept Kansas City and looked really well. They're starting to get some guys back. Clark Schmidt's going to be able to come back in this rotation. That's a massive help for them. Aaron Judge is going nuclear. Anthony Volpe and Jazz Chisholm, who were the hottest players on the planet to start this year with all these home runs and stuff, are both crap in the bed with how they've been hitting as of late. But Paul Goldschmidt has been awesome. Ben Rice has been amazing for them. So they have found a lot of ways to be able to be successful, and that bullpen is really, really solid as well. So the Yankees have had an up and down start to the season, but this is a big series win against the Royals, and now it's kind of the question of, well, I got a question at the beginning of the year when I said that the Royals are going to take a step back compared to what they had experienced last year and what the expectations were really of them this year. And it was like, why did you put them second or third? Why would you not put them first or second? Like, what was all this about? And the fact of the matter is I don't think that their rotation is bad. Their rotation is really, really good. This lineup is not constructed to be beneficial to anyone outside the first three hitters, maybe four, depending on what you even look at it as. The Yankees came in here to sweep the Royals, though the Royals have been awful this year. They've been hitting 206 with a 276 on base, 306 slugging, a 582 OPS as a team. As a team, that is awful. Bobby Witt Jr. is hitting the crap out of the ball. He has looked amazing. But the other guys like Salvador Perez, who has gotten off to a slow start, Vinny Pasquantino, who talked the other day about how he increased his bat speed over the offseason and it has made him a worse hitter. They brought in Jonathan India to be a good leadoff guy, on base person, and he just hasn't been as good as he has been in the past for Cincinnati as getting on base. And the lineup is not constructed to where once you get past five, there's going to be a lot of good hitters down there. It's not what you're looking at with this Kansas City team. It reminds me a lot of last year's Red Sox team, and I'm not saying that the Royals this year are going to end up where the Red Sox of last year were, but they might. It genuinely might be that case. Who knows? But I look at it as like, yeah, your top of the lineup has name value and it has guys that can hit. Bobby Witt Jr. comparable to Rafael Devers last year, being in that 2 spot and just having the guys around him that can perform at the top of the order. But once you get past a certain number in that order, everybody below that is like a close your eyes and maybe hope that they get on base, or maybe they make contact even with the ball. And it's starting to seem that way for Kansas City. The pitching rotation last year for the Red Sox start of the season was really good. Kansas City, same thing. Difference is Kansas City's bullpen a little bit better. I don't want to go overboard saying the Royals bullpen is that good, but it's pretty good. It's just mainly what's going on at the plate. It has become an issue for the Royals. This was kind of the criticism with them in the offseason, why they didn't go and try to get another bat. Like when they were in the sweepstakes for Anthony Santander, you had to do whatever it took to get him on the team, because that's another guy that you can bring in to make this lineup more balanced and more powerful, because now you're having to slide guys up in the lineup that do not need to be anywhere close to 5 or 6. So it's an interesting situation for the Royals to monitor and see what they end up doing with this group going forward, because the fact of the matter is you can't waste Bobby Witt Jr. in this young prime of his career, and his contract is only going to increase as the years go on in the average salary. So best to take advantage of it now while the extension is still slowly kicking in. But a team that is not struggling, they had a little struggle in them. They're not doing that anymore. The Arizona Diamondbacks just swept the Miami Marlins. Now that's not the biggest of accomplishments. that you could ever feat. But that's 5 in a row now for the Diamondbacks, dating back to their series against the Brewers. And I am a massive, massive fan of the Diamondbacks. I absolutely love as well. And I know it's easy to hate on the Dodgers because they have all of this built up hatred from fans that they sign everybody and they allow them to get whoever they want with any money. And they're just the most hated team in baseball. And it's okay. It really is. I absolutely love that these NL West teams, we're going to talk about another one here in a minute. I'm happy that the NL West teams are loading up and playing the best ball that they can to give the Dodgers that scare of like, hey, you slip up for a week or two of the season and you might end up in third or fourth place even in the division, because we've got teams here that are willing to compete and are trying to actively take you down. It's not about winning the division in the NL West. It's about making sure the Dodgers don't win the division in the NL West. And the Diamondbacks are playing really, really well right now. Corbin Burns, awesome addition for them. Zach Gallen's been pitching a little bit better. Brandon Pfaadt, who they extended at the beginning of the season, has been amazing for this team. Justin Martinez is locked down in the bullpen. And their top 4 hitters are all hitting over 300. Corbin Carroll has resurged himself. We talked about him on the first ever episode of this podcast, having a bounce back year for sure. And I am impressed to the maximum with Corbin Carroll this year. He is hitting the ball for more power than he was before, and he's already a 20-plus home run guy his rookie year. Outside of him, Pavin Smith is a DH for this team who really had no expectations of him whatsoever, and he's hitting like 375. Geraldo Perdomo, another guy who they extended as their shortstop, hitting second. He's hitting over 300. Josh Naylor, who they got in the offseason from the Guardians, has been an amazing, amazing replacement for Christian Walker. He's hitting over 300, hitting for a lot of power. And it's not even just that, the rest of the lineup is good. Suarez is still hitting for power. Gurriel can't get it going yet. But a lot of those guys are starting to kind of build themselves up or have shown themselves in the past to be able to be good hitters in the league, to where there's no concern overall. Ketel Marte is injured. Like, keep that in mind. Ketel Marte is not playing baseball games at the moment. Like, that's crazy. It is crazy that this team is as good as they are playing without their best or second best player in Ketel Marte. So big up to the D-backs. I know the Marlins winning series is not a big feat, but the Marlins have been playing really, really solid ball this year. Have had some really good wins in series as well. But the Diamondbacks, really, really, really good past 5 games. And again, we'll talk about them in a little bit as we mentioned a little earlier. But so shout out to the Diamondbacks, playing really good ball. Another team that's playing good, or I guess another 2 teams that are playing good, are the Phillies and the Giants, and they just split their series this week, 2-2. It has been a revelation for the Giants. I talked about it on the preview as well, and I like to reference that a lot because when I give takes, they're not just kind of whatever takes. Like, I put good thought into them. So if something's starting to come to fruition, then I'm gonna hype it up a little bit more to be like, hey, I kind of called this. Or even if I was wrong about the Padres having this kind of start, and I'll dog myself for it. It's just how it is. But I really said that the Giants were going to take a good step this year in being a good ball club. I didn't think they were going to be there yet, and they still could potentially not be there yet. And that could be the truth, and that's okay. But the way that they're playing to start the year has been amazing. Their rotation is top 10 in ERA. They are top 10 in home runs, and they're top 10 in OPS. That is awesome. Tyler Fitzgerald, Jung-Hoo Lee, Mike Yastrzemski, all hitting over 300 for this group. That's not even including your 2 big money players in Matt Chapman and Willie Adames, who you literally got 3 months ago. That's not including any of those guys, which is a massive, massive sign for this team. Wilmer Flores is mashing baseballs. And these aren't even games that are just, they're all road games, so they're not playing in San Francisco. No, this is playing in San Francisco. They're mashing. They're hitting homers. They're getting on base. They're driving in runs. They're pitching amazing. We always knew the pitching was going to be there. Robbie Ray is not good, but they're still winning beside it. Justin Verlander is getting rocked around, but they're still winning besides it. It doesn't matter. The Giants have looked really, really solid to start the year. And we talked about it a few episodes ago. How long will it sustain? Time will tell. We're already starting to see some cracks within that rotation a little bit, but this is a lineup that is hitting hot right now without their two best overall hitters not even hitting that well. So the sky could be the limit for the Giants. Who knows? Somebody needs to check if it's an even year. Well, it's not an even year, duh. But somebody needs to check if it's the year of the Giants to be able to play to make a World Series run or not. But this is an unbelievable start for the Giants, and I'm thoroughly impressed with how they've played. And for the Phillies, I'm also impressed with how they've played as well. It's hard to continuously give them praise when we all know how good that they are. The rotation has been really solid. Luzardo has been probably a top 3 acquisition over the offseason in baseball. I put him over Juan Soto right now in how impactful of an addition it has been to their team. Jesus Luzardo easily over Juan Soto. And that might be the hot take right there, but we'll talk about Juan Soto in a second. He's just not hitting well. The Phillies, their lineup is really balanced. They're really, really good. Schwarber's moving from first to fifth to fourth sometimes. We have Muto's hitting like seventh because he's not hitting well. But all these guys are talented enough, and we know where the Phillies' ceiling is, and we know where their floor is. And their floor is much higher than most teams' ceilings. So that is the exciting thing to watch about the Phillies. And sure, they're struggling a little bit at times, but I think that this team overall is top 3 constructed team in baseball for sure. So really, really love the Phillies and the Giants in both of these teams in this series. The Brewers, we haven't talked about them too much, but they're getting back on track after a really rough start. We all know that first series against the Yankees. They win the series 2-1 against the Tigers. Bryce Terang, we need to talk about him a little bit because when you look at this lineup and you start to question, well, who in this lineup has taken the step to get this Brewers team a little bit more out there and scoring more runs? Because when you look at the Brewers team from last year, it's a lot of contact, get me over type of guys, hoping that Churio and maybe Yelich, if he was healthy, or whoever else it may be, Williams Contreras, to be able to provide that power, provide that oomph into the lineup. But Bryce Terang has been a real game changer for this team. I was trying to think of a good way to put it there, but that's just what it is. Bryce Terang has been hitting the ball much harder this year. His walk rate is down and his strikeout rate is up a little bit more as well. But that's just the fact that he's swinging more, he's taking less, and he's trying to be more aggressive and put the ball in play for this team. His average exit velocity last year was 87 miles per hour. It is 92.4 now. Obviously, something has completely changed. His barrel rate is up. Everything about it is improved. And Bryce Terang, who is just looked at as maybe a utility, or not utility, at the beginning of his career, a utility guy, to last year being a contact guy, really fast guy, good defense, has now turned into a guy that's an amazing leadoff hitter for you, is going to work a count, put the ball in play, slap the ball down the field, but also not just create soft contact, but he's lining out hard. He's hitting the ball very hard overall, and he has been amazing for this Brewers team that has kind of struggled at the start with their pitching. Their lineup is starting to kind of hold them over for a little bit until that pitching can kind of settle in and be the group that we are accustomed to the Brewers having as a pitching staff. So I'm really excited about the Brewers and how they're going to be playing here as well, and especially interested in Bryce Terang. The last team we'll talk about here, just kind of how odd they've been overall, are the New York Mets. We haven't talked about them too much overall, but they are quite an odd team to look at. Obviously, the Soto thing was the massive get of the offseason, and it was all about Juan Soto. It was about how is he going to be able to do this in New York. This is going to bolster the Mets lineup, and him and Lindor just aren't hitting good to start the year, and it's unfortunate. I mean, they're hitting freaks, and it just hasn't been a good start to them. But their team is overall constructed really well, and when we talked about them at the start, it was all about that pitching rotation was the question mark that we had set for the Mets. They have the best team ERA in baseball, and that is with Edwin Diaz out of the bullpen having a 6 ERA. That's with Griffin Canning having a 4 ERA, who last night, I guess not to jump ahead necessarily with the series that are happening this weekend, but they started their series against the Cardinals last night, and Griffin Canning had like 7 innings, one hit. Like, he was 1 earned run. He was unbelievable last night. But this is not just him. Clay Holmes is starting to adjust and figure out how to start. Kodai Senga is nasty. Tyler McGill, unreal. And a guy who was kind of a whatever piece to me. David Peterson's been awesome. But Tyler McGill, who is a tall guy, he's tall, really good extension, has always had kind of the physical features of what a top-end starter would be. His stuff was flat. He wasn't missing a lot of barrels, throwing way too many pitches in the zone. But now this year, things have looked up for him. He's always a hot starter from based how you watch it a little bit throughout his career. But with the stuff that he's doing, his whiff rate is more. He's missing. His barrel rate is way up compared to or way down rather, should I say, compared to any year that he had prior. His strikeouts per 9 are much better. McGill has been an amazing feat for this team and somebody that they have been really wanting to have. But this lineup's going to have to get started. Jeff McNeil's going to be coming back pretty soon, but I don't know how much that's going to overall help this group. Pete Alonso is going nuclear to start the year, so hopefully that the bats like Soto and Lindor, who they're paying the most money to hit, are able to come up and start to be able to be the guys that we all know that they are here for this Mets team, and see if they can make a push, because that NL East is open for the second spot now with the Braves kind of scuffling. All right, well, that's everything from this week to talk about. Let's go into the weekend where we can all enjoy some baseball, and we are in for a treat over the weekend with the pitching matchups that we have on hand. But first, the series that we need to watch out for: the Diamondbacks go to Chicago to take on the Cubs, 2 teams that have already played again this season. It makes no sense why we are having to get rematches like this early on. I don't hate it with the idea of having to travel, and the distance you're doing in the middle of the year is a little bit better, but we just saw Padres Cubs 2 weeks ago, maybe, not even a week ago. We just saw the Diamondbacks and Cubs the first week of the season, so I don't like that necessarily, but I also love the fact that we get to have 2 great baseball teams play against one another in a weekend series. The other games to watch out for: the Mariners and the Jays. I'm kind of interested to see what happens there. The Jays are a team that have overperformed for what their expectations are. The Mariners are starting to figure it out as well at the plate, so let's kind of see the measuring stick for both of those teams. And then the red-hot San Francisco Giants taking on the Los Angeles Angels, who have been overperforming as well. This is a good measuring stick for 2 teams that have kind of overperformed to this point of the season. Let's see where they measure up against one another as well. As for the pitching matchups, these are the good things to pay attention to, and the things that I love to watch. On Friday, Cole Reagans versus Jackson Jobe. Watch out. We got some Cole Reagans stuff here in just a minute. Sandy Alcantara versus Zach Wheeler. Oh my goodness, what a matchup. What a matchup. And that's for my blind rankings. If you go to my TikTok, I have a pitching blind ranking filter out where I rank the pitchers blindly, and ended up having Sandy Alcantara over Zach Wheeler in a blind ranking because people don't know how that works apparently. So that's my fault, I guess. But let's see who really comes out on top in that one. Also on Friday, Yoshinobu Yamamoto taking on Jacob deGrom in that Dodgers and Rangers series. We could have highlighted that as a game to watch as well, but I've highlighted so many Dodgers and Rangers series already. I'm trying to give some other teams some love. So all those on Friday. Saturday, Seth Lugo versus Casey Mize. Yes. Roki Sasaki versus Nathan Eovaldi. I believe it's still Nathan Eovaldi is still scheduled to start, right? Yes, he is. Nathan Eovaldi is going to be starting on that Saturday as well. And then on Sunday, Max Fried versus Ryan Pepio. Just 2 great pitchers, 2 completely different pitchers. One guy with heat, one guy with finesse. Sonny Gray versus Clay Holmes. I even though the Cardinals stink, I like Sonny Gray a lot. And then Sunday Night Baseball, Dylan Cease looking to take off a little bit from that 6.64 ERA, taking on Framber Valdez and the Houston Astros on Sunday Night Baseball. So those are all the pitching matchups and the games to watch over the weekend. I'm a massive fan of the games to watch. There's some other good series as well too to pay attention to. Not like full on lock yourself in, watch it on the TV, because they don't have too many implications overall to how the top of the league is going to be shaped. But there's still a lot of good games to be able to watch over the weekend. Now, to the final part of our podcast every week, where we find some fun stats and give you guys some good nuggets to end off and send yourself into the weekend. We bring out the punch list again, and it's a good time to note some guys that aren't going to be talked about every single podcast, since this podcast is only like 30 minutes long. We try to maximize our ability to talk about everybody. The first guy we need to talk about is the hottest hitter in baseball at the moment, Tyler Soderstrom, a guy for the A's who we had talked about in the preview. Being a former catcher, now turned first baseman, is trying to figure it out as a hitter. Well, it seems like he's figured it out. He is unbelievable to start the year. Tyler Soderstrom is the second A's first baseman to have 8+ home runs in the first 20 games of the season. The only other guy to do that, Mark McGwire, pretty good name to be in company with. Mark McGwire did it 3 times in his A's tenure. So little bit more to go if you're Soderstrom trying to get up to that level, but still really good company to be at. Soderstrom mashing the ball to start the year. From one former catcher to a current catcher, Cal Raleigh, the big man, got paid. He's the 5th Mariners player in history to hit 8+ home runs in the first 20 games. He's the 8th catcher to do so in MLB history. From the guys behind the plate to the guys on the mound that are working with the catchers, Chris Bassett for the Toronto Blue Jays against the Atlanta Braves on Wednesday was the 4th oldest Blue Jay pitcher to have 10 strikeouts in a game. The other guys ahead of him, David Wells, Dave Stewart, and R.A. Dickey. Chris Bassett has been amazing to start the year. I think he's got the best ERA in baseball, like a .66 or something. He's starting to figure it out. He throws it 85 miles per hour. He throws it slower than some of my high school kids did, and he's getting everyone out. Insane. More pitcher talk. Garrett Crochet on Sunday for the Boston Red Sox against the White Sox. Unbelievable. One of the best performances I've seen through 7 innings. But he took a no-hitter into the 7th. He's the first Red Sox player to take a no-hitter into the 7th inning since John Lester did so in 2008. Yes, 2008. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head as a good Red Sox fan. Since John Lester did in 2008, he obviously ended up completing the no-hitter that night as well. Garrett Crochet had his no-hitter broken up by Chase Mydroth, who, for fun fact, was a part of that trade to get Garrett Crochet over to the Red Sox. Mydroth was a player coming to the White Sox from Boston, a part of that deal. Another Red Sox note to talk about, not good though this time, Tanner Houck. Yuck. He has been awful to start the year. Not missing bats, not striking out guys, not getting starting to walk a lot of guys, hard contact. Tanner Houck's the 15th player in baseball history to give up 11 earned runs in 2 1/3 innings or less in baseball history. Anderson Volquez was the last guy to do it in 2016. That is also the most earned runs given up by Red Sox in that short amount of time in their franchise's history. And then we'll end it off on a really good note to be able to wipe over the Tanner Houck crap that he's been pooping all over the baseball field. Cole Reagans, we talked about him being one of the pitchers to watch this weekend in a series matchup against Jackson Jobe. Reagans is the first Kansas City Royal in history with 3 games of 10+ strikeouts or more within the first 20 games of the season. Zach Greinke is the only other guy who's done it multiple times. He did it twice in 2009. Let's see if Cole Reagans can do it in his 4th start of the year, 10+ strikeouts against the Tigers. Tonight, I guess, is when they play. So look forward to that and seeing what other notes and nuggets come out from the weekend for the punch list. I am really excited to be able to fully watch baseball. I appreciate you guys all listening. Follow me on all my socials. I know I should have shouted that out at the start, but follow me on all my socials. Instagram, I guess we'll start doing Twitter stuff now too. I've been really bad at the Twitter interactions and whatnot, but Instagram, Twitter, TikTok for sure. We are really starting to push that heavy. YouTube, we are doing YouTube Shorts. If you want to watch on YouTube, you don't have Spotify, and you're watching on YouTube now, or you listen on Apple Podcasts for free, and you want to come over and watch a little bit, come to YouTube, and you can see my face the entire time and all my hand gestures and stuff, and looking across the screen for information. But I appreciate you guys nonetheless for listening. Always, you guys have a lot of support, have given me a lot of support recently, and I really appreciate it. So enjoy all the baseball games this weekend. Listen up to all the things that they're telling you, so that we can come back on Monday and you'll be able to listen to everything and know exactly what we're all discussing. And hopefully, now that we're fully locked in on baseball here going forward and getting to watch all these games, the content will get even better going forward. I appreciate you guys for all listening, and I'll see you guys on Monday.